Welcome to another Vintage League here. Today we're playing with off-brand Beetlejuice, a deck built around this new card Altanak, big chunky 9/9 that we can cheat into play by saying its name 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. So if you have 3 of these cards, say its name in the graveyard, then you can exile all 3 of them, and you can search your library, hand, or graveyard, so anywhere basically, for Altanak and put it into play. It's a big chunky 9/9 trampler with a little bit of a pseudo shroud ability here. And the really nice thing about this combo is that all of the cards are actually pretty decent on their own, to actually quite good. Altanak's decent, so it's got 1 and a green. You can discard if it's in your hand. You turn a land from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And we've got some that are pretty good here. We've got 4 wastelands, a strip mine, what is this? 6 fetch lands, and Abstergo Entertainment, which if you use the ability it'll be exiled, but if it's just in your graveyard for some reason, like your opponent wastelanded it or whatever, you return that one. That's pretty good. Or even just a random land that's been hit by a opponent's wasteland here. So this ability will usually, or almost always really, just be relevant, especially in a format like Vintage where there's a lot of wastelands. And then Say It Name is actually quite a good card. So it's just 1 green, mill 3 cards, and you can turn a creature or a land card from your graveyard to your hand. And again, we've got a lot of good lands and just regular lands to play the game, utility lands. And we've got a ton of creatures. You can bring back a Psychic Frog, you can bring back a Deathrite Shaman, and the actual milling itself is quite nice. We'll get into it in a little bit, but we've got, cards like Life from the Loam, Uro, Hogak, that work quite well with that, having cards in the graveyard. But the real piece that kind of ties this all together, and because getting 3 Say Its Name in the graveyard is not easy, is Intuition. Intuition lets you pick up 3 Say Its Names. If you do, 1 goes into your hand, 2 in your graveyard, then you could play the Say Its Name and get the Altanak right away. So Intuition, very conveniently, can set up the whole little combo for you. But let's say you already have 1 Intuition in your hand and you've got, or you played it already in the game, it's in your graveyard. Usually you only need 2 Say Its Names at that point, right? So you can make a little package here of 2 Say Its Names and then a 3rd card. Now there's a couple things you can do here. Now the most obvious thing is you can pick up one of the graveyard cards. So we've got Hogak here, which big creature you can cast from the graveyard. We've got Uro, which again, engine that we can cast from the graveyard. We've got Life from the Loam, which again we can dredge back from the graveyard. So you can pick up 2 Say Its Names and an Intuition, which is quite good. Now, you can even go a bit further than this, because Say Its Name actually has text. So let's say your opponent gives you one of the 2 Say Its Names and the other Say Its Name, and whatever you picked up's in the graveyard. If it's a creature or a land, you can bring it back. So let's say you're against Jewel Shops, and you really want that Collector Oof, okay? You get a package of 2 Say Its Names, 1 Collector Oof. They're going to give you the Say Its Name, probably, not the Oof, and then you can use the Say Its Name to bring the Collector Oof back from the graveyard. That's pretty good. Same thing with the Psychic Frog, same thing with the Wasteland if that's what you really want. But the Intuition package can set that up quite nicely there. In addition, we've got a bit of a little tinker package here. If we're not playing Lurrus, obviously, and if you're not playing Lurrus, one of the strongest things you can do is tinker into Bolas's Citadel. We can also, in a pinch, tinker into a Null Rod here if that's going to, we're going to really artifact-heavy deck, and that's what we want. We got a small, very small, probably too small to be honest, artifact package that kind of pulls this together. Here, the Null Rod, we can also get tinkered away. To be honest, the artifact package is actually a little light in this deck, but you can use that then to grab a Bolas's Citadel. And if you already have the Citadel or the Citadel is not going to be good, we can also tinker into Blitzwing here. And Blitzwing is at the beginning of your end step, target. Sorry about that. Had to turn that on. Okay, so Blitzwing has, at the beginning of your end step, target opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. If no life is lost this way, converts. Blitzwing. So, you can tinker for this, and it comes in on this front side, which is pretty strong. Or if it's in your hand, you can cast it for its more than meets the eye cost from your hand, and it's still pretty good at that point. So, we got 2 tinker targets that are pretty good. And some ways of being able to actually get an artifact in play. Force of Will, Force of Negation, standard cards, Jewel, PO type decks are very strong in Vintage. We need to be able to protect against those. Oko, probably one of the biggest reasons to be in blue-green and not have Lurrus in general. Very strong card. Just a staple in blue-green and non-Lurrus decks. And one of the biggest reasons not to be playing Lurrus, along with Bolas' Citadel in Vintage right now, in my opinion. We covered its name. Null Red Assassin's Trophy is just a really good generic way of removing your opponent's threats and various problems here. Can also hit things like Bazaar of Baghdad even. So it's very versatile. Psychic Frog, best creature. Maybe the best creature in the game. You know, that's not Lurrus. Is at least up there, banned in Legacy. Life from the Loan is part of the Intuition package, and also can create a Strip Mine or a Wasteland lock, which is quite good. Collector for the artifact heavy decks, Demonic Tutor, Time Walk, Vintage Staples, Recall Vintage Staple. Deathrite Shaman to kind of piece this deck together. It's got a fairly high mana cost for a lot of different things, and then also we're a little light on Graveyard Hate. A little soft to dredge game 1. We have some tools. We got Strip Mine, Wasteland, Deathrite Shaman here. But we're definitely not favored against dredge game 1. And even though we got some stuff to bring in, it's nice to have extra stuff for the dredge matchup here. On color, Mana Acceleration as well as the Crypt. Since we're playing in, can ramp out Intuition on turn 1. It can ramp out a Tinker on turn 1. It's actually pretty decent in this deck. Lands are standard bug colors, Strip Mine, Wasteland. The only kind of funky land we got here is Abstergo Entertainment, which is Graveyard Hate. It's a pretty cool one. And it can exile it to return up to 1 target historic card from your graveyard, which is pretty good. It's any artifact or a legendary we have. And then exile your opponent's graveyard. So it's a nice little utility land here. And it can also, as a filter land, can make all the different colors. Sideboard is Leyline the Void, Doth the Voidwalker, as Bazaar hates. Opposition Agent can come in for a few decks, but it's quite good against Doomsday. Vampiric Tutor is a great card. However, Lurrus Control is one of the top decks in the format right now, and you don't want Vampiric Tutor against Lurrus Control. They're just too good at managing your resources, and the card disadvantage from this going on top of your library can be too much. Try to avoid that kind of thing. Stillmoon Cavalier for the Lurrus Control matchup and for Mono White Initiative. Null Rod for the Artifact combo decks. Another Assassin's Trophy for when we need removal. As well as 2 Force of Despair, which is a good one. So one of the tough matchups for a lot of bug decks is Mono White Initiative. This is a nice way of being able to remove one or the sometimes double threats that Mono White Initiative can put into play on turn 1 early. And also some of the artifact aggro decks that are popping up. It's quite good against those two. If you're on the draw against like an aggro shops kind of deck, that's your Raker shops that are picking up steam now in Vintage, you can bring these in and have additional ways of combating some of those really fast starts. Alright, that's about it. Let's get into the league here. Okay, gonna try and do a live recording here, so let's see how this goes. We're on match 2 of our league here against Shockwave, who we know gets quite a few trophies with their PO deck there, so that doesn't have enough mana. That does, so we'll keep this one. There's definitely a chance we just die here to a fast PO or a start from them, but not going to mulligan lower than this. We'll put back one of these lands here. Alright. Just going to play out our frog. About all we can do. Pop out the graveyards because they'll become relevant with the frog and with the say its name there. We get a Force of Will pitching a Dak Faden. Okay. That's fine. It's an aggressive brainstorm. Turn 1 brainstorm after you play a land there. That means they can't fetch, so whatever the second card is, they probably have to draw it unless they have a, I guess, a Mox into a Lorien. That would do it. Oh boy. Well, they forced the first frog, so if they have another frog, they're probably going to force that as well. So let's try that. And that just resolves, so alright, we're just going to cast our recall now then. Oh boy. Laggy. Magic Online has been struggling recently. It's turn 2. We already played a land, so we pass. See what they got. Demonic Tutor, that's fine. They're casting the Black Lotus. That means they've probably got... Oh, they don't. Okay. Alright, well, we can discard the Hogak to get an extra damage in here. Going for the Hull Breacher. That's fine. So we don't get our draw, and they get a treasure token. Okay. Blue, here, green. Let's see if they've got a Spell Pierce or something. They don't. don't want to get comboed here, so let's just take that out for now. And we will wasteland their black mana. Alright. We got a time walk, that's okay. Does mean they can kill our Oko now, which is annoying. That wasn't good. Let's see what else they got. They're pausing, so they've got something. I'm guessing it would use the treasure token if they're merchant scroll, okay. Ancestral, that makes sense. Just going for that now. They got a lotus petal. Okay. Alright, so let's draw our card first. So do we want another frog, or do we want to take them off of mana? I think we want to take them off of mana. Do we want to take them off of mana? So did they play a land last turn? So Shockwave took an extra turn. Moves 2 loyalty, merchant scroll, ancestral, plays to lotus, but they don't have a mana. Let's cast this. If they do counter it, we can. So Flusterstorm for 2. No. And then we can play our frog. So they drew something good here, then we are in a lot of trouble. White, blue. For that a prismatic ending or something? Balance. Okay. So we discard a card to make our frog big. And we say okay. Choose 2 lands you control. Click done to sacrifice the rest. So definitely this one, and I guess our other green. Done. Choose a creature you control. The big one. Done. They had the Time Twister, so that whole breacher would have demolished us if we didn't elk it. Okay. Huh. Oh boy. Well, I think we want to draw a card. So let's start there. Land, and then frog, I guess. Let's just attack. Bayou. So if we play the Bayou, we can Demonic Tutor. We could just go for Wasteland. We could go for... No, it doesn't really do anything right now. We could get Tinker. Tinker's pretty good here. Let's just get Tinker. See what they drew. They're just gonna hold back. That's fine. Let's exile frog, recall, tutor. See what we draw. Trophy's not bad. Black. You could get the Blitzwing, and the Blitzwing would make them take another 3 down to 6, and we could keep open Trophy. Or we could go for Citadel. Let's go for Blitzwing. That's more fun. They got a mana crypt. Okay. I think in response we will trophy the probably the Hull Breacher. No, the crypt. I don't think they can really win after that. Hit the crypt. Green, black. And they got a card. We got that one. Cool. So we're against Balance, Crypt, PO, Jace, Narset. Oh jeez, lots of stuff. Okay. I like the opposition agent. Burrow's too slow. I think the Hogak's too slow. I don't really need to grind in this matchup. Vampiric's okay. Stone Arrow, Assassin's Trophy, Null Rod. Cuts. One, say its name. Another Null Rod. It's PO. The Null Rods are pretty good. I think the intuitions might be a little slow here. Maybe one more Null Rod. Line of the Void, Force of the Spirit Walker, say its name, Trophy Arrow. I think that's okay. A lot of lag. Very slow. Recovering from the Super Bowl yesterday. I took today off. And so this is an awkward hand. Only have one land. They're not really playing Wasteland, I don't think. So the Shaman can eat one of their lands, play a say its name, grow a land. We got forces, so I think we keep this even though it's risky. They're going for that turn 1 brainstorm again, so sure, I guess. Very aggressive, interesting plays. They got a Sapphire, that's okay. And a Jet, alright. So we're looking for a green land so we can play our Collector Oof, ideally off of a fetch here. So we will Force of Negation this. Exiling the Time Walk. Green land, please. Abstergo Entertainment. That does not quite do it. Oh, jeez. We can eat their Brainstorm. 4 or 5. They still can't play Cruise or anything. Another land. Alright. At this point, they've actually got a lot of mana. Oh boy. We might actually lose this game. Maybe the Asterio is not where I want to be. Interesting. Please grab a fetch land. I could really use a fetch land. Oh boy. Or a Moxen, I guess. Moxen let me play the, oh jeez. Okay. Rough. Oh no, I can't even, tinker for the Citadel. It's in my hand. Not going to attack. They might have a Hull Breacher. This feels like a Hull Breacher. Maybe not. Okay, we got a land. What does this let us do now? They have a lot of mana in play. I think I actually want the Frog. Is that true? I think that is true. Is that true? Yeah, I think we need to try and draw some cards here. We can almost hardcast a Citadel. We mill some cards with Say Its Name. We get a land, or 2 lands or something. We can, or fetch land that gives us 1 for Deathrite and 1 for alright, we have to let that go. It's okay. We can rebuy it with the Say Its Name. That's okay. We're gonna have to probably counter whatever this is, but probably a balance. That makes sense. Okay. Alright, so what do we want to do here? 4, it's 5 mana. So we can definitely still do this. So I think we just play this first. We get back the Frog or the fetch land. Fetch land definitely lets us play Citadel next turn. I think the fetch land definitely letting us play Citadel is better. 4, Okay. Green tropical. Play our collector oof. And we will swing for 1. Okay, that could be hard to beat. Little late. Let's see. Black. We need black. I think we want that in play. What draws? I think we might want to force the damage through. Yeah. Well, our shield's down here. They could just win this turn. They're gonna go for it. They take damage. That makes it harder for us to win with Citadel. So we'll cast that. Play a Deathrite Shaman. Play a land. Play a recall targeting us. Cancel. Cancel. Jeez. Cancel. So we've got hard cast Force of Will up. Already played a land. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do both, I guess. Attack. Let's just trophy this now before they get a trigger. Black. Oh no, we can't, because we don't have a land in our graveyard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't do that, so that's okay. That's all right. Just gonna block here. And then eat something. I guess the balance. Probably the scariest thing. Cancel. Jeez. I am not playing fast enough, am I? So play that. Cannot play that, so we'll fetch. Still a wasteland. Jeez. Alright. Oh boy. Could actually lose this. We do have trophy up as well now. So we will just trophy blue, black, green, cancel. Quickly. Black, green. We've got Force of Will up, so we'll try that. Alright, so we got the match there. 2-0 in the league. Jeez, can't even get our win screen. It's lagging so much. 2-0 in the league now. We'll go to match 3 after this. Okay, going into the next round now. So we're on the draw here, but we've got pretty good hand. Of course, Force of Will with the blue cards and Social Recall, Moxen. Pretty good. We also have the Abstergo Entertainment, which is a little bit of graveyard hate. Up against Lurrus here on the reveal. And they've got a turn 1 Black Lotus, but that's it, so let's see how it goes. We don't want to fire off our recall into a Spell Pierce here, but when they were out of blue mana, I had to crack the Lotus. I was okay with that. And they got a frog. We've got a frog. But we've got more cards in hand, so we can win the frog war at the moment. We don't want to Force of Negation that, because really we just want to try and untap and hopefully just tinker at this point. We tinker and we get Bolus's Citadel, and right away we take a bunch of damage from casting Altanak. Now we've got 2 frogs in play, so it's pretty good. We don't want to cast the Crypt there and be in danger of taking damage, so just leaving that one be. But we got Force of Negation hard cast up. We're going to take out a frog, that's okay. Just put the Crypt into our hand, play the Shaman. We're going to play the Blitzwing here, and then just swing out for the win. Blitzwing doubles our damage, so at the beginning of your end step, target opponent loses life equal to the life the player lost that turn. So it doubles all your damage, and then we've got Altanak in play, the big fancy 9/9 trampler, and we can also smack them with Psychic Frog. So that was a fun one. On to game 2 here. So we trimmed a couple things. Trimmed the Collector Oof, one say its name. You bring in some removal at that point. Our opponent once again has a pretty good start here with Sea and Lotus, and in addition they've got Grafdigger's Cage this time as well. That will stop say its name combo. Pretty good. Got a Lorien Reveal, draw 3 right away. just going to get a Stillmoon in play. They get Ancestral Recall, that's fine. Not what we want to draw, but we can get back a land or say its name still. It's a nice thing about say its name, it's still pretty good. Even without the actual combo part of it. Mox, land. They got a frog and another frog, and I'll bring out the graveyards real quick. And when we get a big 2-for-1 there with Force of Despair. So Force of Despair, really cool one we brought in here, part of our removal for this matchup. If it's not your turn, you can pitch a blackguard to it. You destroy all creatures that entered this turn, so got a pretty nice blowout there. Alright, off to the next match. Alright, next round here. So we've got a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. We can't go turn 1 Frog because so Emerald, not Sapphire or Jet, but still a pretty good start. We can try and play a Tinker next turn or a Frog, and we can get a land into the graveyard. Or potentially, if we're up against Jewel Shops or something, play the Null Rod, but they're on Moon Stompy. They've pitched a Simian Spirit Guide here to the Shaman, and now they've got two red there. So I regret playing that Null Rod. So one of our outs here, our only out here, is really to get a land into the graveyard, and we can do that by going up to 8 and discarding. And Null Rod will slow our opponent down, hopefully, in order to do that. It didn't there, really, but the other way of getting a land into the graveyard is just to draw it, say its name, and mill one. So I don't love my my play here of Null Rod shutting off Emerald, because right there on this turn we could have played say its name and hopefully milled a land off the say its name. Like our next card was a land, this would mill the card. Then we could have tinkered with the Shaman and started playing stuff off the top of our library. So I think I threw this game by not really thinking about my outs there. So, but in retrospect, that is how I could have won this game, or have been able to make mana here. So I should not have played that Null Rod. Now we're just playing Go-Go because they don't really have any threats here. So if we can get up to 8 cards, one more, we can still discard a land and then make blue. But they have the Caves Adventure there, which is very scary. And now we've got a land in the graveyard. We can make blue, but then they kill our Shaman, so that's unfortunate. And now we are back to still needing land in the graveyard. And our opponent got that one. Go to game 2. So we'll take a quick look at our sideboarding here. Trimmed on some of the graveyard pieces here. Just not really what this game is about. Got a turn 1 recall. Hopefully it gets us a blue card for force. It doesn't though, so that's definitely scary. They've got a bauble anyway. We're just going to try and take them off mana here. They're able to pitch a Spirit Guide, but we've got lands in our graveyard this time, so we're definitely in a better place than before. And we can play the Blitzwing Transformed here, which is pretty cool. So if we attack next turn and we deal damage, then we can flip it. Our Blitzwing got indestructible. It gets either indestructible or flying when it attacks. It took some damage there with flips. It take more damage. At the end of turn there, the Blitzwing will double the damage. We have to get rid of that. That's scary. Now they have to block because if Blitzwing connects, it deals 12 damage right by itself, and that unlocks some of our stuff. And we have the combo. So you have to say its name here, say its name in the graveyard, say its name in the graveyard. So with 3 say its names in the graveyard there, we can exile them all and grab Altanak from our hand. It's graveyard, hand, or library, so we would put the Altanak into play, and between our current board presence and putting the Altanak into play, we not going to lose that one. So pretty cool win from the actual say its name combo there. Quite happy about that. Next game. I'm going to go through this one a bit slower. This game was a bit unfortunate. Our mulligan hands were a bit unfortunate. So our first hand here has no lands in it. So we're going to pitch that one. Our second hand also has no lands. So we're going down to 5 on the draw here. Not where we want to be. Now this one's unfortunate, so I keep this one, but it's Force of Despair, no black card to pitch, so we can't kill a turn 1 Magus of the Moon with Force of Despair, and then Force of Will, no blue card to pitch, so we can't kill and do anything with Force of Will. So I keep this one. I'm on the fence about it. In retrospect, I think there is a case, given that we're on the play, our opponent's kept 7, to try and just go for like a 4 that try and gets an early tinker, like a tutor or something, but it's really tough at this point. I do keep this. Let's see how it plays out here. And our opponent has turn 1 Black Lotus into Magus of the Moon, and we just can't do anything about that. So we play a couple of lands and then die. We really have no counterplay at this point, unless we draw like Runner, Moxen or something. That's about it. We could find an Emerald into like a Sapphire the turn after or something maybe, but you know, realistically at this point we're dead. And that definitely just cleans us up. They've got the Elia there. Strong card. So, close games. On to the next one. Alright, next round here. So we're on the draw. We kept a pretty reasonable hand. We got Moxen, Mana, turn 1 Recall here. And our opponent's got a turn 1 Patchwork, but no lock pieces, so that opens up some options for us. We can probably jam the Recall right away, so we're going to do that, and then we can just discard the Hogak. The other option was playing the Deathrite Shaman, but since we've got 2 Wastelands and a Strip, I think I want to lean into that plan here. They do have a good amount of mana here, so part of me is regretting that, I think. But it seemed like a reasonable plan. Really don't want to pitch that Tinker, but we do have the Citadel in our hand now, which definitely makes it worse. We can still get Blitzwing. And that we do have to pitch the Tinker to that one. can play a frog now. And then the frog lets us also bring back the Hogak, which can block the patches. They've got a Golos. That Caracas could bounce our Hogak, but we've got the strip mine there to deal with that. We can fly our frog, draw a card. Not sure why I did not play the. Not sure why I didn't play the collector oof there, really. I think I probably should have played that collector oof. Okay. Way back. Alright, so it looks like the replay was slightly broken on that one. Let's go to the next game. So we did win that one, as you can see by the fact that we are on the draw for game 2. We'll keep a 7, and we're able to use Force of Despair, pitching the Citadel in our hand to remove our opponent's turn 1 Patchwork Automaton. Force of Despair, you can exile a black card rather than pay its mana cost and destroy all creatures that entered that turn. So that lets us get rid of their Patchwork, and now we're set up to be able to turn 1 Tinker. But we can't get a Citadel because we pitched it, so we can only get a Blitzwing, and they have a Caracas to bounce our Blitzwing. So not great. And then we do just get run over here. We can play our Blitzwing again after removing their Caracas, but it's a little late. We do deal some good damage to them with Blitzwing, but it is not enough. They've got a giant Stone Coil Serpent that's even bigger than our Blitzwing here. Just no way. Alright, so good try, Blitzwing, but not your day. Let's go to game 3 where we'll be on the play. Let's take a quick look at our sideboarding here. I don't like the Null Rods and the Collector Oofs here in this matchup. They've got a lot of fast mana, even though they're an artifact deck, like with the Workshops and the Ancient Tomb. So even without the fast mana, they can usually outmuscle us there. Taking out a Hogak here, I think that's okay. And trimming on an Intuition and a Say Its Name to bring in some removal here, like the Force of Despair. All right, let's go to game 3. Alright, so we're on the play. We've got Force of Negation, Double Wasteland, a turn 1 Deathrite Shaman, and we can play a Frog on turn 2, so pretty reasonable start here. And they've got a Saga, and I'm just going to aggressively hit that Mana Crypt because we're going to try and lock them down on lands here with all our Wastelands. They've got a Nettle Cyst, that's pretty good. And then presumably they don't hit another land there. We've already took out 2 lands and then the Mana Crypt because we ate the Saga. So we're able to use a combination of Mana Denial and Frog there to pick this one up. So yeah, good match. Okay, here we go, another round. So we're on the play this time. We got a turn 1 Mox Trop Time Walk, And we can have some options here on turn 2 with either the frog or say its name. I made a mistake, as you can see. If you can, you probably already figured out my mistake. And the mistake was I played the wrong land. I was supposed to play the Bayou and the Sapphire, and I clicked the wrong one, so I couldn't play a turn 1 frog and then double frog with Time Walk, so don't misclick, folks, that was bad. But we can play our frog now on this turn. We don't get to attack twice though and get another draw, which would have been quite nice. So there's definitely a case here to hold the frog back and block monkey. I chose to be aggressive here. They could play the collector oof, but they probably don't want to. But they have their own time walk, so they've got Ragavan time walk, which is quite strong, into Wasteland. And I just used the ability on Altanak here to bring back a land in response to that. So Altanak, even if it goes into your hand, it has this ability to bring back a fetch land, bring back a wasteland, bring back a saga. So even if you draw it, it's still actually not a terrible card, which is pretty good. It's always nice when your little synergy combo piece here, like the Say Its Names and the Altanak, all have actual use cases as well. So they've got a run-in 6 and the Deathrite Shaman in play now, which makes things scary for sure. Now we've got our 3 Say Its Names, which is quite nice here, which means we can exile all of them and bring in the Altanak with the 3 Say Its Names. So we did the actual thing on the Say Its Name Beetlejuice card, and we exiled them, and we got our Altanak. They're pretty fun. We also have Force of Will backup. So we're going to grab that strip mine. And we're just holding the frog back on blocking duties. And we got there our Say Its Name Altanak plan, getting our giant creature, winning us this one. Pretty cool. Let's go to game 2. Take a look at our sideboarding real quick. We did some of our regular sideboarding here. Took out Euro and Hogak, just trying to thin down on the Intuition package in case our opponent brings in Graveyard Hate. So down 1 Say Its Name. Still have the 3 Say Its Names in the deck, but just cutting the 4th one. And bringing in some other options here. Our opponent is on the play, and they got to see our hand right away. We only have 1 land, which is a little risky, but we have a Deathrite Shaman, and we've got forces, so I think it's good enough to keep, especially on the draw here. We are looking for lands. We don't find one, which is unfortunate. We really do want lands here. And that's too scary. If they've got a wasteland here, we would just be locked out, so we're removing that. But with the Deathrite Shamans in play, I guess maybe there is a case just to let it go, but they would at least get 2 wastelands, so a tough one. But maybe I could have let that go in retrospect. The Yoko we definitely can't let go though. We can draw another mana source. We're actually in pretty good shape here, but they found a recall before that, which is very scary. And then the Oko. And this I would have rather had the Force for. So burning that Force earlier, or the Force of Negation earlier on the Ren and 6, coming back to bite us here. And their Deathrite Shaman gets to fight our Deathrite Shaman to keep us off 3 mana. And we're just locked out of the game here on lands, so we kept a 1-lander with the Shaman, which we knew was risky, but 17 cards in, we are struggling here to find our lands. Opponent isn't doing a ton though, even though they do have an Oko. We're probably dead at this point. I think we're just playing it out just to see, but there's really no way back into this one at this point, I don't think. Yeah, so alright, let's go to game 3. Try and have a bit more mana this time. That would be good. Alright, we're on the play this time. So a pretty reasonable start here. We've got turn 1, Wasteland, Shaman, and the Lotus. The Lotus can cast both the Recall and the Intuition. We don't want to get them Force of Negation though, so I'm waiting till their turn to do this, but now we can. So we got a Recall, and then with the rest of the mana, we're going to cast Intuition. We can get both Say Its Names. We've got 1 in hand. And then we got the Life from the Loam, which they put into the graveyard. Got back a land with Say Its Name. They do have a Ragavan, but we're going to cast a Say Its Name, and then we get to, again, pretty cool, bring in our Altanak. So, once again, third time in this league, I think, at least the third time, I remember, we got to actually do the combo with the bringing in the Altanak here with the Say Its Names. Pretty cool. We don't have the Time Walk here, so I think I went for Tinker. And just trying to close the game out. They got to remove the Frog, but it's tougher for them to move the Altanak here. They do have an Assassin's Trophy though, so letting the Ragavan get through ended up being a mistake. They took our Assassin's Trophy and they got to blow up our Altanak, which is scary. But hopefully we can tinker here okay. And we do. I'll take that trade. We're just trying to get that Force of Will off to clear our library here. We really don't want them to do much of anything. But we can play the Oko. We can turn the Crypt into a creature. And then the Blitzwing. They have a lot of threats on board. There's not a lot they can do here, so we do end up winning that one. Definitely closer than it should have been there by letting the monkey connect, and then they got a little lucky there getting the trophy. If they go, we're back into it for a minute, but we had a pretty solid start there. So we had other things to follow it up with the Citadel, playing all of our stuff off the top. Oko. And then once again, Blitzwing making a fun appearance here. And that's that. We win another match. Alright, so pretty good league there. Got a nice 4-1. Started off against Lurrus Control here. Probably the strongest, at least arguably the strongest deck in Vintage right now. And then round 2 we played against PO. Also one of the strongest decks in Vintage right now. Shockwaves has a lot of trophies in the Vintage leagues there, so quite a strong win there between between Lurrus Control and PO, even if it's the Shockwaves version, which isn't running Lurrus. Then Mono Red Prison, that was a very close one. Not sure if you watched that match. I made a bit of a poor judgment call game 1 by turning off my own Mox Emerald there that removed one of the ways of winning that game, and if I had that one back I would do things a bit differently. Might have been able to turn the tides on that one, but then game 3 we just had a unfortunate hand on the draw where we mulligan 2 no land hands. And that can definitely happen. They got hit by a turn 1 Blood Moon, so definitely a close one. I think it could have gone either way though. Then we played against Golos Shops and got a hard fought win there, and then another hard-fought win here against that 4-color Deathrite Shaman Planeswalkers deck from Kabloom. So yeah, overall, pretty strong league there. Pretty happy with it. I think the deck felt quite good. I don't think any part of the deck was really lacking in any obvious way. So the actual combo here of Say Its Name and Altanak, I think was very good, because these cards aren't bad. Like Say Its Name by itself is a strong card. It's not something I would really play by itself. There's another card called Malevolent Rumble, which is basically a slightly better Say Its Name. I think it mills 4, and then you get a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn you can sack to make mana. But that's actually like a widely played in Legacy strong card. I think that's what it does. I have to double check, but Malevolent Rumble is a slightly better version of this that is played in competitive Legacy decks, and it doesn't have the actual combo piece here, which I really like. So Altanak, if you're not playing Swords to Plowshares, it's very difficult to deal with this card. So it really is a similar way to Stillmoon Cavalier here, just a really nice threat and option to have here. The Intuition package felt good. I think when you've got Deathrite Shaman in the deck and the fast mana, getting up to 3 is really not crazy. So I quite like that. I think that's fine. And then a lot of the other stuff is just normal bug cards that are tried and tested and are quite good. I don't think the Tinker package is needed. I think that is something that could be removed from this deck, and it would free up a few spots. You could take out the Citadel, the Blitzwing, the Tinker. I think that is an option. I don't think that's a critical part of this deck. The Euro, I'm not sure about that one as well. There's so many Wastelands right now in Vintage that just getting to 4 mana here, blue, blue, green, green, even with all of our ways of making mana, it just feels a little bit slow. I don't think it's bad. Like, you can play this as a one-of off the Intuition package, and it's not bad. But I think having just one of Hogak or Uro is fine, and I think Hogak probably... I'm thinking Hogak is probably just a little bit better, but Uro pitches to Force of Will, so you could go back and forth on that one. And you do need a board presence with Hogak, so there's definitely plus and minuses to both of them, but I think, there's definitely a case to be made for cutting one of these two to free up some more slots in the deck. And I think the Tinker package isn't critical, even though Blitzwing did win us some games there, or at least one game there, so in this league, so it was quite good, but I don't think it's critical. But yeah, most of those other parts I think are good. The Abstergo Entertainment I think is another one that's a bit of a flex spot. You could put other things in here. There's other utility lands you could pick up on a pile with Intuition and say its name. You could play Caracas. You could play. There is Bojuka Bog too, but I would still go Entertainment. It might actually just be better than Bojuka Bog in this deck, as it does help with all 3 colors of mana. That's an option. There are other utility lands you could think of as well. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with the deck. If you got any ideas or things you would change about it, let me know down below in the comments. And you get a second, please like, comment, subscribe to help me grow the channel a little bit. That would be nice and appreciated. Alright, well, thanks for tuning in. See you next video.